Let me introduce myself. I am the daughter of my mother, and my mother has not always been the kindest person on the planet. In fact, most of my adult life could be seen as a consequence of being born. And I spent a lot of time actively recovering from the consequences of being the daughter of my mother, even though she passed away a very long time ago. There is a word that is orbiting around me that I could use in order to describe her to you. But I choose not to use that word because that word is very overused and abused. But if you have watched films like White Oleander or Black Swan, then you kind of get an idea of what type of a movie character my mother was. And please don't get me wrong, I absolutely love and adore being the daughter of my mother. I'm thankful and grateful for the life that has been given to me. I know she did her best. I know she didn't have it easy. And I know that she did love me. Despite the lives that I could have or should have had, and loves that I wanted for myself but I didn't get, I wouldn't trade my life. Because from being right here, right now, in my studio filming this, I could tell that being the daughter of my mother is quite remarkable. Because of the darkness that she showed me and gave to me, I was able to paint all the paintings that I've ever done. I was able to become the artist that calls herself Dolores Mephistopheles. And you may say, there's no privilege in that. Your paintings didn't pay your bills. And I might say, well, yeah, they didn't pay my bills yet. And maybe yet is the hope that was given to me as to the daughter of my mother. But those paintings that I painted showed me who I am, and who my mother was, and who my father is, and who their mothers were, and the mothers of their mothers, and the mothers of their mothers' mothers. Those paintings that I painted gave me the access into the underworld, where I was able to see what I needed to see, to taste what I needed to taste, to become who I didn't want to be, and get out. Not get lost in the darkness, like many do. And I think that's quite a privilege. If my mother would have been any kinder or more loving as a mother should be, theoretically at least, I would be happier. I would be happier. I would probably use color pink in my paintings if I would be painting at all, because I assume that if my mother would have been any kinder and more loving, that by this point in time I would already have safe, stable, secure career that would be loving and kind to me and allow me to pay my bills in time and have all my needs met. If my mother would have been more loving and kinder, I probably wouldn't choose a career that allows me to deeply question myself and go from one extreme into the other in search of sense of self, self-love, or perfection. And perfection doesn't exist, we all know that. Nothing seems to be perfect anymore. We all know that there is nothing to strive for, you'll never reach it. It doesn't exist, we don't have to talk about it either. This is not heaven, this is life. You don't have to be perfect. Well, why then is my body being the target of it every day? And why do I feel so fascinated with the idea of embodying perfection? Fascinated? Or better said, tortured. Because, you know, for me as a daughter of my mother, It's not always easy to know the difference between fascination and torture, between love and pain, between red and blue. I have forgiven everything to my mother. Not because I'm a spiritual person, and that's what we spiritual people do. We forgive everything. We sell forgiveness, we give it for free. We forgive the people who never even asked for forgiveness. We sprinkle a little bit of love and light on top of that, and we just let it go. No. I have forgiven her because I was angry. I was angry a lot. For a very, very long time. Until I had enough. This is the 14th video of my YouTube channel. And at the time of recording this video, which happens roughly 9 months after I started working on this channel, I have 29 subscribers. I'm thankful for each and every one of them. But some of the therapists that I have encountered in this lifetime, people who have specialized in healing the daughters of their mothers from being the daughters of their mothers and the consequences, could tell me something like, oh, sadly, 29 subscribers after 9 months of work is because you are the daughter of your mother. Like it's my fault. But they would be very quick to say, no. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. Being the daughter of my mother comes with great responsibility. Does that responsibility make me a great human? Does that responsibility make me a great artist? Does that responsibility make me a great alchemist? Being the daughter of my mother comes with great questions. Being the daughter of my mother comes with simultaneous isness and isn't-ness. Nothing is what it seems. Everything is and isn't at the same time. Because she did love me, but she also didn't. Before this YouTube channel came to be, the camera and me, we avoided each other. She would look at me only if I was perfect enough. And even if I was flawless, she would still observe every millimeter of my body for hours with intense anxiety and pain in the stomach, with fear and shame for the fact that somebody might not like what they see. If I ever felt free to come to the camera and speak to her, share something with her, maybe my ideas or feelings, or just show her how I live, document my existence on this planet, the proof of that would be gone due to the amount of shame that was assigned to it. So for this YouTube channel, I decided to sit in front of the camera and look at it. Look at this plastic, metallic, glass construction, just so that we can get to know each other a little bit. Canon, Dolores Canon, hi, nice to meet you. But the Canon didn't look back at me, my mother did. And she wasn't alone. She was there with all other people whose faces I sadly remember from this lifetime, and faces of all other people whose I will never see them in this lifetime, But there is one thing that they had in common. Eyes. Eyes of my mother. Not the brown eyes that I have, but the critical eyes. And I kept looking at them, one by one, all of them. My heart was racing, and I couldn't breathe. My throat would often just get so tight that my voice would disappear, and my voice disappeared so many times. I screamed, I cried, I broke glasses, I threw objects around me like they were nothing. I smashed the door with such intensity that the whole building was vibrating with my rage. Until I wasn't there anymore. I became me who was silenced, me who was ashamed, me who was threatened, me who was criticized, me who was bullied, me who was ignored, me who was excluded, me who was afraid, me who was fired, me who was cancelled, me who was not seen as a child, me who was not seen as a woman, me who was not seen as an artist, me who was not seen as a person, a human being. So we gathered all together, we smiled to the camera, and, well, it's our show, we bought the camera, we put the camera here, so we decided we're gonna change those eyes that were looking at us into voices. Voices of our friends that we met along the way. Voices that are so kind and loving, that they speak directly from their hearts to ours. And some of those friends that we met, they are also mothers of other daughters. Mothers whose love is not elitely reserved only for their own children. Their love is universal, just like we are. And so we started working on our videos. We did one after another. And there was one video we had to do again and again because there was so much we had to learn. We had to learn the lighting, the composition of the video. We had to learn settings of the camera, microphone, where to put microphone, where not to put microphone. We had to learn makeup, hair, outfit, pronunciation, body language. Which time of the day is best for filming considering noise? Which time of the day is best filming considering natural light? How to combine the natural light and the lack of noise and the energy level of the body. We had to learn how to edit, we had to learn so much. There was so much we had to learn. Each of me became a crew member. And we loved it. Because we actually always wanted to work on film. We had fun. And so we continued working on our videos one after another, and then there was that one video we had to do again and 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 again for 44 fucking times. In search of perfection. Where we found that there is no perfection. But we found the perfectionist. Yeah, that's right. The one who's already thinking about repeating this video too. Not because, but because it can always be done better. Perfectionist is the one who has a critical eyes, just like those that we removed. But now it seemed like we're having the camera inside of us, inside of this body that we all share. It wasn't nice to work with him. Sometimes it was because he really knows what he's doing. But he kills the vibe often. And we had to kind of get along, learn how to coexist, and eventually we did achieve some sort of camaraderie all together, and he did feel comfortable working with us after a while. He used to be always dressed in black, and he had the black suit all over his body, and once he felt really comfortable and he started unzipping his black suit like this, and he opened up, and he opened up, and what came out was a white being, fully white being. We called her the imperfectionist, but she said, no, please, I'm not the imperfectionist. I'm living. I'm being. I'm not even expressing myself, I'm life expressing itself. I'm not an imperfectionist. I just am. It turned out that the imperfectionist didn't want to call herself an imperfectionist. She was life itself. She was this life energy that flows through, and when we touched her hand, it wasn't like meeting the perfectionist, because he had his particular way of being, very distinguishable from everybody else. But she was there all along. With the perfectionist, we had a sense of direction. With her, we found comfort. And so, with her on the team, we were now the full crew. We had everybody who we needed to have in order to do videos. And we looked back on the history of our videos. We acknowledged that there was this video that we did 44 times, and then there was another one we did 10 times, and then there was another one we did only 2 times. First time it was just a test, and the second time we nailed it, and we thought, this is it, we did it, we learned everything, now we can just go. But the very next time we had to film 7 times again, not in search of perfection, but in the search of air, because she couldn't breathe. She was losing her voice again. Her body would kind of contract herself, like she was afraid, even though she wasn't afraid. But so we had to teach her how to breathe and how to keep the voice from the beginning till the end of the video, and we had to teach her how to relax her body so that she can breathe. We had to teach her how to take care of herself before the video. And yeah, but now when we met this white being, it was different, because she was just being, she was life itself. So there was that one day when she was there, and She had air to breathe, she had things to say, all the words were coming to her, she had energy. Everything was just perfect. We didn't even do anything much to direct anything, we just silently moved the camera from one place to another just to join her. And we all had a great time. She enjoyed herself, we enjoyed being the part of it, until we started editing. And when we saw the footage, we saw that she wasn't perfect. She was comfortable, but she wasn't perfect. And so we fell down on the floor, all of us. It was as if we were trapped in a two-dimensional triangle with no room to breathe. We were on the floor, and on the right side there was one wall coming against us. It was the wall of perfectionism, where the perfectionist was saying, I can't show you to the world because you're not perfect. And she opposed him by saying, I refuse to repeat myself. I refuse to repeat myself because that would make me fake. And we were under the both of them, trapped on the floor. We didn't feel free. Camera spoke to us. One of those voices actually said, the role of an artist is not to be the best artist, is not to be the best in the city, in the area, on the world. It's not to be the most famous, to become rich and famous. It's not about creating the biggest painting that the world has ever seen, or to create the most expensive artwork, or it's not even to create cultural movements. The role of the artist is to keep the energy moving. Show up and keep showing up. Just keep it going. And do bad art. Do something bad. And say something embarrassing. Be willing to embarrass yourself. Be free. And remember how I said earlier that me as the daughter of my mother, I don't really know always the difference between love and pain, between red and blue. Well, at the beginning, pain is love and love is pain. Red is blue and blue is red. And then red becomes red and blue becomes blue. Pain becomes pain and love becomes love. But that's not all that is, because life is not just this and that. For the daughters of their mothers, there is also grief that becomes grief, and anger that becomes anger, and sadness that becomes sadness, and happiness that becomes happiness, and joy that becomes joy. And there is bliss. There is bliss. And from that point on, the pain is love again. The pain comes from love, to love, for love. the pain is a portal to love and for love. One of our friends whose voice is in the camera told us, so, you think you are the daughter of your mother? You're mistaking yourself. Because you don't end with the end of your fingertips.